Hi, this is Llyn Hunter, L-L-Y-N-H-U-N-T-E-R, storyboard artist and illustrator, and today I'm going to do an illustration of Mr. Donald J. Trump as the King of Diamonds. I've got the King of Hearts here, but I'm going to use that as the basis for King of Diamonds. Not sure what your political affiliation is, but let's face it, if one thing he has done that should kick him out of office is he has broke the Constitution Emoluments Clause to the nth degree. That's the one that says you can't make any money off of being the president. That's one of the major things in our Constitution. If you have any feeling about this individual at all, he should not be our president for that reason alone. I could go into many more, but I have good constitutional grounds for the fact that this man should not be our president at the present. But anyways, I want to do him as king because he's been acting like one a lot lately. And this particular piece that we're going to do today is about doing caricature. Now, let me pull this up again. You'll note when I do an illustration, I like to have a lot of reference material. These are both by James Tennille. It's Tennille. I always remember the last name. Not great at the first name. Very famous illustrator from around the turn of the century. And he did a lot of political cartoons for Punch and magazines in England. And he was very well known for his work for illustrating Lewis Carroll's Alice in Wonderland and Alice Through the Looking Glass and various other pieces. But I'm using that. This is King Charles II. I wanted the 18th century type of clothing, which is kind of the clothing that Tennille chose for his King of Hearts. And then we've got 3 images of Donald Trump, a full body image, kind of a haughty up look, and a 3/4 view, because that's basically the direction I'm going to have him posing in. But this is going to be a caricature. It's not going to be realistic. And this is reference. I like to have something to look at so that my brain's got touchstones and reference to look at. If I'm doing something that's going to be realistic, I want to have reference. Relying just on your memory is never a good idea. There are artists that can do that. I am not one of them. So I'm going to keep this in shot so you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to start off with, basically it's just a regular kind of 2B pencil. I like regular pencils that you put in a pencil sharpener, but mechanical pencils are nice too because they're always going to keep a point. And again, so I'm going to do them in a 3/4 pose. And with this one, I'm not doing a preliminary. I'm just kind of starting from scratch. And I want to keep it relatively small just because I want to do it fast. And whenever you do something, or you want to do an image that is done quickly, keep it small. Keep it small and simple. Let's face it, this is going to go to the internet, so I'm going to be transferring this or scanning this from my traditional surface into the computer, so I can do anything I want within the computer. Now with Donald, and this is a caricature, right? So he's got kind of a squarish head he's got this chicken neck type thing. And he's got like a flat top. So this is shape, the Donald's head, we've got a circle, a flat top. And like if we consider his chin's here and his jaw would be there. And so I'm looking at, in this, how the shape of his head works. And we're going to fake his body. We're going to do him with like very big gut and small legs. So when you're doing caricature, you exaggerate. So we're going to give him, what was the standard line is he has little tiny hands, and I'm going to have him holding a scepter. So, and let's give him a cape. Let's put his hand on his hip. So you see, I'm making changes and decisions as I'm going along when I do this, and I'm doing it very, very loose and keeping it open so that, you know, I can make any kind of changes I want, and I'm trying to get a flow to it. I let my hand dance across the page, and I'm not really being too conscientious about, you know, what I'm doing. I'm thinking a little bit of anatomy. He's going to have the scepter. He's going to hold it here. You know, so his elbow's got to be there, and his shoulders up here, and, you know, his chest is going to be in here, and he's got a big belly. And I'm over-exaggerating the belly just because that's what you do in caricature. I'm going to give him, he's going to have the kings of this period. They've got like these, they've got tights, and they've got garters, and we can decorate. It's like he did a half-color garter there. Oops, excuse me. And so I'm going to give him kind of bloomers too. They had these bloomer-like pantaloons. Okay, so I'm giving him, since he's got little legs, what you do is you go down. Okay, I've determined this is the leg, right? Even though it's connected to this big fat body, I'm taking the legs down, but I'm going to give him a big calf. And then they had these big buckles in those days. Those shoes don't show him so much. I do have a knowledge of history of that period, so I'm going to give him some big buckle shoes. Okay. So the thing is that's what I'm saying, is that I'm using reference, but that doesn't necessarily mean I have to stick to the reference. And like give him garters, like I said, buckles there. And so the thing is that I've drawn this around, and I've got a feeling already of my form, my flow. I'm giving weight, feeling the weight here. How's he standing in the ground? And I'm going to, I did another one of him as a king with a dunce cap. And I had him standing on basically what, you know, you might determine as a pile of feces. And I'll probably do that with him. And let's give him heels. Yeah, let's give him heels. In those period, the shoes would have, you know, these outrageous heels. If you want to see a really good film of costuming of that period, check out The Three Musketeers with Michael York as D'Artagnan. Has got some really, really, really good pictures of the period of that sort of thing. So, okay, so we've got that there. We're going to give him, let's see here, maybe a side thing with ribbon. And we'll split open here. And let's give him a cod piece that makes certain appendages look a bit smaller. They were big into cod pieces actually in more of the 1500s. This is, I'm trying to do more of a 1700s piece. That's the 18th century. So put a hand on his hip. And oh, okay, so we'll give him like multiple, you can see on King Charles II here, he's got these really puffy sleeves that go puff into puff into puff. I like that. So we'll do that, puff into puff into puff. And we can do that here. Okay, and then we'll give him, let's give him kind of a ruffled. This is a little bit later. Earlier, the ruffed collar is more, 1600s than 18 or 1700s. So there's that, and then let's see here. I want to give him the. Okay, we've got to think this now. Go into the head. For Donald, he's got like the back of his head is very flat, and he's got his comb over. Let's see here, and maybe we'll make his head a little bit bigger. Made his head pretty small. We made it almost in proportion to his body there. So let's make Donnie's head a little bit bigger. You know, and this is how it's like all I'm going to do is I'm taking that shape. I said before that he's kind of got this squarish shape, and we're blowing it up. Okay, so there's that pie plate of a comb over, and then he's got very small features. He's got a very pointy nose, but it's small, and the mouth is a, you know, relatively, let's see here, point there. These are brows here, and okay, lip. And so it's like I'm thinking about where his features are. They're not getting it too funny yet. I'll get more interesting. I'll throw an ear back there. Let's see his crown. I'm not liking this head. Not that this head's still the wrong size. Actually, it might have been better the way it was. And that's the thing. I've got my kneaded eraser. I've described these before. It's just basically rubber with air whipped into it, so it's like silly putty. Yeah, I'll go with, yeah, I like it better back there. And then let me see here. Let's get the feeling of the crown on his head. Okay, just a second here. Because I want to see what kind of feeling, because I want that. Let's see. Trying to get that sense of his face is pretty, like I said, it's got this almost like there's a box and a triangle at the bottom where his neck is, and his chin is in here, and let's see here. He's got pretty even features, but so it's like, okay, so I want to, it's like, where do I want to place those features on his face so that I get, you know, a good caricature of him? Because he doesn't have like a huge forehead, but he just, like I said, that pie plate's really important, and we want the crown to go to the edges here. And let's see here, this crown shape. And I think I want traditional crown here too, so I'm going to throw some scallops in there. And then I'm going to put this, because I want to have him have that kind of playing card king feeling to him. And so we want to give him his scepter, and I'm going to throw his arms through, like the, more like this is a big robe rather than a cape. Okay, yeah, that's good. Now we got to play with the features. Now that I got the body down there, let's see about playing with the features a bit. Let me pull this down a bit. There. Because with that diamond at the top, he's getting close to being off camera there. Okay, so now he's got pretty big eyebrows and a little nose. Let's see here. And we want to give him that haughty look. I like the way he's looking that way. We don't really have an upshot here. So and he has, like I said, he's got pretty big brows, but they're more like puppy dog brows. And he's got little dot eyes. You can't really see him. It's like as I'm playing around and not really getting, and that's the thing is that if it's not feeling like the photograph, then play with it until you get that sense of he's there. Okay. And it's all in the eyes, and I'm not getting the eyes right this time around. Okay, come on, Hunter. He's got a bit of a line of a mouth. It's like trying to get that Trump pouty mouth. Oh, that's part of the problem. Okay. Okay, let's see here. Okay, he's got the jaw. He's got a pretty strong jaw. Sad thing is that he for a robust man, okay, he's allowed himself, what most men, most people, period, about that age, they kind of let themselves go. Okay, come on, let's get this right. Okay, we're going to have this here. Let's make sure we get that right. Okay, so he's got the hair and we've got the face shape. But we need to go here, I think out here a bit. There we go, that works better. Let's throw his ear down here. Okay. And his... Okay. I'm really trying to get this right. And oddly enough... There, we're starting to get it. There we go. Gotta get that haughty expression right. Okay. And he's got kind of a square tip nose. Even though it's pointy, he's got this kind of square... Yeah, that's what I was missing. It's that... It's not quite the Nixon nose. I mean, I was around in Nixon and they really exaggerated the divisions in the front of his nose. There we go. There's Donald. It's like, okay, why am I not getting this right? And he has kind of this pouty... There we go. That took a little bit. It's got more that pouty nose. And then he's got very, very small eyes. And he's got these pretty big brows. Like I said, they're kind of... He's got fuzzy brows, but they're small. There we go. There we go. Now we got Donnie. And that's the thing. You play around with it. I mean, there are really talented people who, like, will... they work at, you know, Magic Mountain and what have you, in amusement parks, who will sit down and be able to get people's caricatures instantly. And I suppose if I did this all the time, I could get it more correctly. But, yeah, it's more. Let's see here, get that shape right. Okay. Now, what do I want to do with that ear? There we go. That's better. Okay, so we've got the ruff basically done for him. And you want to get more of the bags here. And also he has really pronounced lines to the side. And let's see here. There we go. And more square. He's more this way. Let's see. It's close enough to make him... Let's see here. It's more here, here, there. There There we go. It's like, there we go. It's trying to get that full personality pulled out by getting his eyes are relatively close together. Yeah, there we go. Get those lids more roundy, and even though. There we go. Hello, Donnie. Okay. Now, mind you, I'm still not quite fully satisfied with all this, and you'll notice how scribbly this entire thing is. Now what I'm going to do is take my magic kneaded eraser and erase everything you see here. Primarily because what happens is, because graphite leaves behind a heavy residue, you can take graphite back pretty far and you leave behind this, what I call this stage for me is called ghosting. Because I haven't really concentrated or been very specific on that first underdrawing, and that's what I call it. It's an underdrawing in pencil. And that sets up like a skeleton that I can hang the final drawing on. So I will just give this a nice, it's not real heavy. It's like you should be able to see that there's still a ghost of what I just did underneath that. And a lot of people find that this is a little bit difficult to do. And I've got two pencils right now that I'm using. One is, this is a Prismacolor Colorerase Tusken Red, and this is a Prismacolor regular Premier Tusken Red. So they're both Tusken Reds, they're both Prismacolors, but this is Colorerase, and this is your standard Prismacolor pencil. Okay. PC 937, and this one's 20054. So if you're looking for those particular colors, and I'm going to start at the top and work my way down. And we're going to start with his diamond crown, because he's the king of diamonds. And like, as I said before, when we're going through this, my politics, actually, I am very liberal, primarily because I'm labor. I've worked for a living all my life. I was fortunate enough to be in a union. I wouldn't be where I am today if it weren't for the fact that I got to work for the Animation Guild, or work with the Animation Guild. I worked for Disney and Warner Brothers and Hanna-Barbera and all the major studios in Los Angeles at one time or another in my career. And because of that, they paid. My salary wasn't just my salary. My salary was, they had to pay into the Animation Guild. On top of that, because I worked for a union shop, any cartoon that I worked on, there would be money for any union show that played on the television or the internet. Every time one of those cartoons plays that's a union cartoon, they have to send a certain percentage of their profits to the union, which means that I have retirement funds. You have, depending on how many hours you have worked on union shows, you build up a bank of hours for health insurance and for retirement. And because I worked for union shops, for the most part, for a good part of my life, I got retirement benefits. My health insurance is taken care of beyond Medicare. I have a pension, a real honest-to-God pension, that basically it's an annuity type thing that will last me until I'm dead. And that's because I worked union. And personally, I feel that everybody should be allowed to work union. In Germany, everybody, if you work at any company, they are required to be union. Their board of directors are required to have at least 20% of, or I think it's 50% of their board of directors have to come from the people who work on the shop floor. They can't just be rich people who get voted into it from the stockholders. It's the stakeholders as well as the stockholders in Germany. And actually, we required them to do that after World War II. When the Germans lost after World War II, basically, they set up the new German constitution, where that was required of any corporation. We couldn't do it in our country, but we could do it in Germany. So we did it for the Germans. And that's how they advanced so far after World War II. And it would be, I was fortunate, like I said, enough to be able to work union shops. Okay. And I'm doing his hair now. And we're working our way down. You'll notice I'm doing much more detailed. I'm just using all the things that I put down as a basis for what I decided to do. Now, the thing is, this particular pencil, the Colorerase is a little bit harder than the Prisma color, and I want to get some detailed nice features, so I'm using the Colorerase over the Prisma color at the moment. And you can see now that I'm getting down to really doing more of a finish of this. I'm taking what I did before, and it's coming out much more realistic and solid than the initial drawing that I did. But that initial drawing has so much life in it that when I get down to doing the final work, it's got more of a free form to it than it would if I was really stodgy and was overly concerned. And pull this. I'm getting his, yeah, it's good right there. Okay. There we go. Pull it in there. There. And he's starting to look more like the Donald. There we go. And I'm going to make his ears a little bit smaller. Make the mass of his head. I have a friend, Ed Wexler, who does amazing caricatures of Donald and does some really fun political cartoons. If you want to see his stuff, he posts on Facebook all the time. I believe he posts on Instagram as well. I haven't been posting as much of my political stuff because I was doing political stuff for a while, and then I stopped for a while, and I was heavily involved in not working in animation for a bit, and was not doing... I did a lot of freelance stuff that was paying that I can't show right now. Actually, I can start showing that stuff now, come to think of it, because it is out there in the real world, so I can start showing it. Okay. Playing with his eyes a little more. There we go. And throw a little bit of fuzz over here. There we go. Okay, that's our Donnie. Now let's finish up the rest of his outfit here. And what I'm going to do is I will turn off the camera and paint him up, because it'll take me probably another hour to paint him up. And then I'll turn on the camera again so you can see what it looks like after I've gotten done painting him. But you can see, again, it's exaggerating the shapes. You know, again, like I said, Don's more or less, you know, square with flat top. And then he's got this, you know, his chicken neck that he sticks into. Actually, you know what we really should do? I'm going to just give him a big red tie. Because what would Donald be without his big red tie? So I look at that tie and I'm going, okay, if you ever have heard what Sigmund Freud's, actually, you should listen to, I'm trying to think, oh, it's like ties look like really evident. I'm not going to go into that. I'm not going there. Never mind. Not going there. Started to. Not going there. But, so we've got his fist on the hip. You do that, the good old square thing with the fist on the hip. And this is those fluffy sleeves I was talking about. And I've got an X-Acto knife. Let me show you. Electric sharpener next to me. This is the sharpener that I use. It's made by X-Acto. It's just your standard electric sharpener. And you just, stop when you've got a really nice point. Those, you can get one online from Amazon, or you can get them at Staples, I think. If you can't, like I said, unfortunately, Amazon is the evil. We can get everything, everywhere from Amazon. I'll give him his royal scepter. And there we go. And like I said, I've been around for a while. I'm 65 years old. Yes, I am an old woman. I'm old enough to be your grandmother and then some. But that doesn't mean I'm going to stop drawing. Lord, I love doing this. And I hope you enjoy watching it. I mean, it's one of these things where it's like I'm doing this for you guys so that maybe, you can see this is one person's way of drawing. It's not everybody's way of drawing. Okay? Everybody's got different ways of drawing, and your way of drawing is probably different than my way of drawing. And how you do what you want to do is going to be entirely different than what I do. Or it might be the same for that matter. I really encourage you to go look at different styles. My style is made up of, I always say, my personal style is made up of every artist that I've ever loved, plus myself. And I personally feel that's the way most people draw, is that you are you and everybody you've ever loved as an artist. You see people's work that you really like, and you go, ooh, I want to draw like that. And then you try doing their kind of style, but you won't do their style because it's not your style. And it's just like trying to imitate anything. You never quite do somebody else's style. They basically, you're always going to be throwing your style into it, because your style is basically your personality. So it's like, try, if somebody does a drawing a particular way, try doing their kind of drawing, and then it'll turn into your drawing. And it's a great way to learn, is to imitate another artist's work, because it's never going to look like their work, because your work and their work will always look different, just because you're you and they're them, and they've got all kinds of different influences on their background, and you've got different influences on your background. So even though you try to draw in a particular artist's style, you're still going to be different from what they're doing. Okay, I think this is probably good enough. You've got a good idea of how I work, how I do caricature. And it's like, let's see here. I think Donnie's face probably could come in a little bit more. Like I said, when I finish this up, what I will do is I'm going to paint this in watercolor. And then I'm going to go back in, and I'll do maybe a little bit more of the finish for you after I get the watercolor done. But that's my caricature currently of Trump as the King of Diamonds. I'm going to throw, actually I'll probably throw diamonds all over his outfit here to give him more diamondy, and I'll throw some diamonds in the background to boot. And I'll show you that in a few moments. I'm going to turn off the camera and I'm going to complete this, and I'll come back and show you what the finish is like. Thank you for hanging around this long. In just a moment, and I will be back. Okay then, so after all that, here is our finished piece of Mr. Donald J. Trump. Put some heavier outline around him. I put some extra pencil in after we finished up with all of the painting. And that defines everything a little bit more. Since I was doing this extremely loosely, it helps to go back in to give it some extra outline and a little bit of extra definition. You don't always have to do that sort of thing. This is my style. This is the way that I do a fast illustration. If I wanted it to be more defined, I would have probably used a dip pen and ink, or I would have drawn it on computer And I find that when I'm drawing by hand with pencil and I'm drawing with pen and I'm painting this way, I have a tendency to be a little bit more loose, and that gives a little bit more life to the drawing as well. And that's just me, that's my style, and that's the way I do things. You could try to do this technique. You're not going to look like me. You're going to have a bit of my style with your style. Everybody's personality is different, and that'll put into it. Let me pull out, this is again our reference material for the Donald. And you can see it looks somewhat like him, so I'm got it good there. And again, look for the shape of the head. He's got a very rectangular head. Again, it was like a box with that chin on it. Things like the fact that he's got a very flat top to his head. His eyes are close together. There's a little bit of a down shape to him. Look for shapes and try to exaggerate those shapes. I will do this particular individual in a number of different ways. There's not one way to do a caricature. As long as you get the basic parts of the face correct, or they're close, that people can go, oh yeah, that looks like that individual, you're doing fine. So anyways, thank you for stopping by. This was a little bit of a long one. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll bring you something again next week. Thanks again, Llyn Hunter, LLYNHUNTER, and join me on my Patreon, and again, subscribe and like this video. It really helps me. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye. Next week.